Somewhere I Belong, Chapter 15. Have I been here before? Part 1. Rarity woke up with a pounding headache and a bad taste in her mouth. As she pulled the covers off, she realized that she was still in her dress from the night before. The mirror quickly threw on a bathrobe and smelled something coming from the opposite room. She opened the door to see the man sitting down eating at the table in the kitchen portion of the room. "Morning," he said with a grin. My head," she said as she sat down. Isaac walked over to his bag and withdrew a small vial of purple liquid. "What's that?" "Hangover cure from Zecora. I figured that at least one of us would get blitzed, so I figured I'd ask her to cook up a few batches before we left," he said as he poured the liquid into a glass. The mayor stared at the glass and gulped. "It may taste bad, but it gets the job done." The mayor looked at the glass and drank the liquid. Her face contorted and she stuck her tongue out. "Better?" "A little. Mind telling me why I woke up in my dress from last night?" she asked as Isaac got up. "You don't remember?" The mayor shook her head. Isaac thought for a moment of the events that occurred the previous night. "You got drunk and passed out on the bed." He lied while putting on his best poker face. "Did I do anything embarrassing?" she asked. "Almost, but I stopped you from making a big mistake." "What mistake?" "You almost slept with the bellhop." He lied. The mayor's face turned bright red and hung her head in shame. "Thank you for stopping him." "Well, it was more you than him," he said as he washed his plate in the sink. The mayor grabbed her head in pain. "Yeah, the headache still remains, but the nausea disappears." The man walked over to his bag and withdrew a black hooded sleeveless sweatshirt, making the white t-shirt he had on stick out. The man walked over to his bag and retrieved the black cylinder from before. He slipped it into his right pocket along with his pea-pod and phone. The man made his way towards the door. "Where are you going?" she asked. "Sightseeing." "Wait, I'll go with you." "I think it's better if you stay here and rest. That potion can affect you depending on how much you drank." "Your point?" she asked with a cocked eyebrow. "I had 3 shots of scotch while you drank almost 2 bottles of champagne. The potion will take longer to disperse the alcohol, and I don't think you want to be going around a loud and noisy city with a migraine." The mayor was about to protest, but found no argument. "I move faster on my own anyway." He looked at his phone to see that it was 9 o'clock. "I'll be back around 3 at the latest," he said as he walked out the door. He walked over to the elevator and selected the main floor. He walked out into the street listening to his music. He kept his hood up and made his way through the crowd. He looked into an alley and found a fire escape. The man ascended the metal structure until he got to the roof. He looked out to the other buildings. Isaac walked over to the edge and rested his right foot on the edge. "Let's see, I managed to jump over Twilight and the others, so that was a good 10 feet. This should be easy. If I'm wrong, then we don't have to live in this place anymore. Win-win in my book," he thought as he took a few steps back. "Legs don't fail me now," he thought as he ran and jumped off the building. He outstretched his hands. Isaac felt his feet hit the roof next to his jump point, and he quickly went into a roll. "Okay, that was easy. This calls for some awesome running music," he thought as he selected a song and started running. The man then broke into a sprint and ran along the rooftops, scaring the crap out of some pigeons and a pegasi. After he cleared a 20-foot gap, he stopped and caught his breath. As he looked down, he saw a familiar white mare with electric blue mane. He quickly pulled out his phone and selected the contact. He looked down to see the white mare put her phone to her ear. "Hello?" "Hey, Vinyl, it's Isaac." "Hey, what's up?" "Where are you right now?" he asked. "In Manhattan. Why?" "See the store with the blue banner out in front?" he said as he looked down towards the banner. "Yeah, why?" "Look up towards the roof." The white mare followed the banner to see a hooded figure on the roof waving at her. "What the hell are you doing up there?" she asked as her jaw dropped. "Sightseeing. I'll be down in a minute," the man said as he hung up. Isaac walked over to the edge and descended the fire escape. The metal frame stopped 10 feet above the ground. Isaac hopped off the structure and onto the blacktop. He crossed the street to where the DJ was waiting for him. "Sup?" "Not much. Why were you on the roof?" "Like I said, sightseeing. The best place to look at things is from above," he said with a shrug. "Why are you in the city?" "I've got a gig tonight," she said with a smile. "What about you?" "Rarity is going to this art thing, and she dragged me along for company," he said with a shrug. "Ouch, that must suck." "Yeah, of course that wasn't the weirdest part of my visit," he said as the two started to walk down the road. The two walked towards a coffee shop and sat down as Isaac finished his story, and then I knocked her out, he said as the mayor stared at him. "Wow, you have the craziest adventures," Vinyl said as she sipped her drink. "Yeah, aren't I lucky?" he said in a sarcastic tone. The human felt a small shiver run down his spine. He looked over his shoulder to see a figure with a white hood staring at him. Isaac rubbed his eyes for a second, and the figure vanished. "You okay?" "Yeah, just tired," he said with a yawn. "So, what should we do now? I got the day off. Know any cool things to look at?" "I guess. Oh, I know a place," she said as she got up. "Come on, it's not far from here." The mayor grabbed the man's hand and led him through the streets of the bustling city. "Can I ask you something?" "Sure." "Why didn't you sleep with Rarity?" The human looked at her in confusion. "She was drunk and I didn't want to take advantage of her like that." "That's nice of you, but I know that it's not the only reason." The human looked at the mayor, who was making a pouting face. "Fine, Spike is seeing her." He breathed out. "So, you know it's not illegal for a mayor to see more than one stallion or vice versa." "Yeah, I know, but Spike is a friend, and I said that I wouldn't do anything with Rarity," he said with a sigh. "I stick to my morals, and I know that Spike would probably try to kill me if I did." "You really think that?" "I would if I were him." "Why?" she asked. The man stopped walking and let out a sigh. "Back in my world, relationships are usually between two people. My first girlfriend broke my heart." The mayor put a hand to her mouth in shock. "What happened?" Vinyl asked in a low tone. "I caught her in bed with another guy," he said in a low tone. "So?" The man cracked his knuckles. "You don't get it, Vinyl. I respected her. I put up with a lot of her shit, and she goes behind my back and cheats on me, with someone I hate no less," he said as he felt rage burning up inside of him. "Look, even if Spike said he was okay with it, I know that he'd just be suppressing a growing rage. Eventually it would explode, and who knows what will happen if a dragon goes on a rampage." "I think I'm starting to see the picture. Not to mention I consider Spike a bro, and I follow the bro code." "The what?" "A code that bros follow. Think of it like a set of rules for bros to abide by. For example, Bro Code Article 1, Bros before hoes." "Huh?" "It means that your friend comes before your girl or boyfriend," he said with a smile. "Oh, I guess that makes sense." "Right. So you see that I'm not willing to jeopardize my friendship with Spike just because a mayor is shaking her ass," he said in a proud tone. The mayor nodded and led him to the sidewalk near the shore. Isaac's jaw dropped as he saw a massive green statue of Celestia holding a torch in her right hand and a tablet in her left. "Vinyl, what the fuck is that?" "The Statue of Liberty." Isaac face-palmed so hard that he felt a red mark on his forehead the size of his palm. "Where did the city get it from?" "Prance, I think," Vinyl said as she scratched her head. The man face-palmed harder than he'd ever done before. "Are you fucking kidding me?" he said with a groan. "What?" she said in an aggravated tone. "Okay, there's coincidence, then there's downright plagiarism. I'm gonna have to sue somebody," he said as he raised his arms. "Why?" "There's a humanized version of that statue back in Manhattan. The human version of this place," he said as he pointed to the ground. "Just when I thought this place couldn't get stranger." "Welcome to Equestria," she said with a smile. A low grumble came from the mayor's stomach. "Heh, sorry, I skipped breakfast. Want some lunch?" "Sure, this may sound odd, but are there any places that sell meat around here?" Vinyl gulped. "I think there are a few in Little Griffonia," she said as she led the way through the busy streets that soon turned into large alleyways. Shops were stationed on either side of the road, with a large griffin standing behind. "This place looks good," she said with a smile. The two sat down at a table. A female griffin walked up to them and handed them each a menu. Isaac read through the menu while Vinyl looked at it in confusion. I can't read this." "Really? It's clear as day to me," he said as he looked at the menu. "Here's a salad dish," he said as he pointed to an oddly worded name. "How can you read that?" "It looks like English to me." "Oh," he said as he made a connection. "What?" "Do you know the doctor?" "You mean that tan stallion that travels around in a police box or something? The one that Ditzy keeps going on about?" "Yeah, him. Ditzy told me that his police box, or ship, has a psychic translator built into it." The mayor nodded. "Apparently, if you go into the box, then you automatically have a psychic link with the machine. Hence, I can translate." "That makes no sense." "This coming from a magical pony who's also a DJ," he said with a laugh. "Touché," she said as another griffin came to their table. Isaac gulped as he saw Gilda with a notepad in her claw. "Well, look who's here," she said in a stagnant tone. "Look, Gilda, I don't want any trouble. If you want us to go, then we'll go," Isaac said as he closed his menu. "It's fine. Since you gave me that recipe, our businesses have been booming, so I'd say we're even," she said with a small grin. "So, what can I get you?" "I'll just have a salad," Vinyl said with a grin. "Got it. What about you? She asked as she looked at the man. I'll see how you guys use the recipe, he said with a smile. I'll be back out in a second. As the griffin walked away, Vinyl looked at the man, who let out a sigh of relief. Who was that? She asked as she cocked an eyebrow. You heard that I got in a fight, right? Yeah, with some griffin. Her? Yep, he said as he sipped his water. After a few days, I visited her in the hospital. At first, she was scared shitless of me. After we both calmed down, she apologized and I to her. We called it even after I gave her a meat recipe from my world. What's it called? A hamburger. It's a slab of meat that's in patty form and fits on 2 pieces of bread, he said with a smile. It's quite delicious if you make it right. I still think eating meat is weird, she said with a sigh. There are plenty of humans that are vegetarians, and I guess that it's an acquired taste, he said as their food arrived. Isaac's eyes boggled at the slab of meat and the pieces of bread in front of him. The man picked it up and took a bite from it. Awesome, he said with a satisfied grin. Vinyl ate her salad as Isaac happily ate his burger.